Hey everybody. Well, it was just announced approximately an hour and 15 minutes ago. Apparently, someone informed the Chronicle first, so they obviously paid some money for that one. Good for them. But now former Oakland Mayor Sheng Thao is criminally indicted by a federal grand jury. Now, the Chronicle went and rushed this out, so I don't know what the indictment actually says. I haven't been able to find it online yet. I just got wind of it. Thank you to a loyal reader. But, I have to just candidly say it, that for all of her actions, it's hard for me to imagine that Sheng knew what she was doing was criminal. The unfortunate fact is that one cannot claim willful ignorance. If you, the situation undoubtedly points to this trip to Vietnam, and according to a post that I put up based on a San Leandro Times interview with Brian Azevedo after the trip, Councilmember Brian Azevedo, who was vice mayor at the time, they visited a number of high-level dignitaries. And if one of those dignitaries gave money to the any of the candidates through the dongs, then that's a problem because that's illegal. Now, the candidate sure could not know that, but if the dongs got that, that's the case. Now, in the case of Councilmember Azevedo, as I understand it, the contribution he received from the dongs and Andy was before the Vietnam trip, not after. In other words, it was far before it, not after. As far as Mayor Thao and what she's accused of doing, all I know is that the difference between the federal raid on her house and the federal raid, or the FBI raid, on her house, and the FBI raid on Councilmember Azevedo, is that Councilmember Azevedo had his cell phone taken, a couple of computer laptops. There were boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes and boxes of information taken from Sheng Thao's house. And let's not forget also that Renia Webb was involved. So this is going to focus on Renia in some kind of way. We just have to see where this goes. Is this happening took everybody by surprise. People that I expected would know more than what I knew were surprised that would happen. One person said, "You're kidding." I said, "No, it was just the news. It just exploded." But again, the Chronicle, as the Chronicles want to do, put this behind a paywall, as opposed to letting it run free and then posting, for example, the actual indictment, which it doesn't have. The indictment has not been handed down yet, okay? The indictment has not been handed down yet. Now, will that happen later today? Let's hope so, okay? But this is a dark time in Oakland's political history, getting darker, unfortunately. And it points to an era where we've had apparently elected officials, some elected officials, who were thinking more about their personal wealth than the wealth of the people that they were elected to represent. Christopher says, who's going to be the next new mayor? Well, right now, the interim mayor is District 7 Councilmember Kevin Jenkins. And this points, but that even then, that points to a concern that Gene Hazard had. He said that 50,000 people were not represented in the way that they did it because they took a person who was a sitting city council member, Jenkins, made him the interim mayor. In other words, he was caught up in the whole business and the political soup. And then was appointed as opposed to elected by some of the people who had the hot light of scrutiny placed on them. As I understand what Gene is trying to say, I'm going to have to reach out to Gene to see if I got that one right from his point of view. But that's how it looks to me. But right now, in terms of down the road, Barbara Lee is arguably the front runner to be the next mayor when the special election happens on tax day of this year. Now, does that mean she's automatically going to win? Yeah, well, as I say, that's why they play the game, right? She certainly has got a better image than anybody else running for even, for a lot of reasons, but she also has some weaknesses that under the right approach could wind up causing the outcome she doesn't want. And if she chooses to go ahead and continues running. For those of you wondering if Barbara Lee went on this Vietnam trip, the answer is no, she did not. However, there are a number of Oaklanders and East Bay people who did, who have extensive ties throughout the community. So I'm just going to have to see where this goes, and just keep digging and getting more information. If anybody has a hand on that indictment, send it to Cine62 Media. Don't send it to the Chronicle. I'll be back with more. I think Eduardo Escobar sent me a statement he wanted read on the air. And so I, let's see if I can try. I keep Ed. See, there he is. And, oh yeah, for immediate release. And then let me point it out here. Will it open? Let's see here. It's not opening. It says, yes. Oh, yesterday, he sent it yesterday. That was the old one, because he sent me a newer one. But at any rate, he writes, Christopher asks, what candidate do you think is most qualified? I don't think that's the question. I think the question is, will we have a system that allows each candidate to realize the right policy approach at the right policy time? See, the trouble is that this is a cult of personality. I mean, you're asking me who's most qualified, right? But you have to remember, the mayor doesn't exist on a throne barking out orders. The mayor has a team of people around he or she consisting of, to start with, the chief administrative officer and that person's staff. So the question really is, to what degree can Oakland collectively focus and form a plan for economic recovery and revitalization, regardless of who's mayor? Right now, the answer is, and I think the problem is deeper than who the mayor is, because if we had real leaders right now, I'm just saying it bluntly, they would have had a special meeting. They already would have laid out a plan for recovery. We would have laid out a plan to use tax increment financing to bring additional money in to deal with this deficit problem. These are problems that are solvable right now. You understand what I'm saying? Right now. We're not doing them. So the question isn't who's the most qualified as mayor. You already heard, you basically have got my answer, all right? My answer is, given the way this is handled, nobody, okay? We're in a special situation that calls for action now, not waiting until the mayor, who the next mayor is, but now. And then when we bring in the next mayor, the mayor comes in and basically puts themselves in the driver's seat of the car that we built. That's our job. And we're not doing our job, okay? That includes you. This is all of us together, right? So the fact that you asked that question as opposed to, hey, how come we don't have a task force? Hey, how come we don't have a coalition? Hey, how come we haven't done anything? Why are we waiting for a mayor? You don't wait for a mayor. And yet that's what we're sitting here doing, all right? And he says, sounds like Thornton Township of Oakland. Don't know what you mean there. You have to explain that one, Mr. Chapman, but I do appreciate the fact that you're commenting. All right, there's going to be a lot more here. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube. Bookmark OaklandNewsOnline.com and ZennyReport.com and Zenny62blog.com, as well as OaklandNewsNow.com. Lots of sites. All right, thanks, everybody. I'll see you. very soon.